Okay, so again, I'm Emily Deering, and I'm commenting back on Ben Sattler's review of my term paper on feminism. Thank you so much for going over my report, Ben. I really appreciate it. 10 pages is not fun, no matter what anyone's doing. I would also like to criticize you for not seeing 50 Shades of Grey or 50 Shades of Grey Darker, because they are enlightening, regardless of what critics and the newspaper may say. I really appreciate your criticisms. You gave me 3 or 4 pretty awesome good points. I have them written down and take them into consideration. I definitely need to change my thesis a little bit. I agree with you. After looking at my conclusion, they aren't as aligned as I would have hoped. And I also think that setting up a better overall structure would probably give a little bit more clarity that you talked about. I know you said some things were a little bit confusing, and I think part of that is because I'm still a little bit confused on the idea of gender as a variable. And I think some of the readings that we've done have been a little bit conflicting in terms of what Jones says and what Weber says and how we're supposed to relate them. That being said, I think that's why I tried to draw the similarities between liberalism. I think that, let me see here where I have it specifically. Yeah, liberalism and realism both being relatively opposite to liberalism, meaning like that feminism would make advancements towards the communications between nations, whereas realism would mean that it would make more conflict and thus kind of bolster that international anarchy that we're talking about. I still think the criticisms are really, really helpful, more so into the structure. I'm not exactly sure how to make the summary any better. You said that it was pretty easy to understand. I thought at first it was a little too long, but if you think it's easy to understand, then I'll just leave it like that. Maybe it would be a little bit easier to understand the feminism aspect specifically in its relation to 50 Shades of Grey if I also related that to liberalism and realism. So I guess I'll put some more time into that. Professor Kiersey's also encouraged me to look at a couple more sources. Originally I had quite a few more, but they were very politically charged, especially with one that dealt a lot with Weber's perceptions of the Trump administration in comparison to what like a Bernie Sanders administration or what a Hillary Clinton administration would have looked like. And it was kind of interesting to see the different sides of feminism, especially from Hillary Clinton, who considers herself a feminism, and then all the feminists that align themselves with Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton, regardless of either of their gender identities, which I thought was really interesting, but I was warned that it wasn't super pertinent to my paper because my paper dealt with, I guess, a different concept of 50 Shades of Grey. Wasn't as political. It was more of gender misconceptions and, for lack of a better term, empowering women. With that, I know that kind of coincides with you pointing out that I needed a couple more sources, and that I used the Roos article as my main point. I think I could have been a little bit more clear on what her point of writing was. She focused primarily on patriarchy, which was a key point in my paper as well, and why I aligned the both of them, and that kind of helped me bring in 50 Shades of Grey Darker to international relations instead of just focusing on feminism and the issues I see with feminism. I think that we were kind of in a general consensus that there's obvious quantitative areas where women are lacking in comparison to men, whereas in the workplace, in expectations, social media rules, and probably could have talked about social media rules a little bit more specifically because we're covering a movie topic at the moment. But other than that, and your main points being structure, thesis, and just being able to understand the main points a little better. I think I'll just word the beginnings of my sentences, the start of each section, with a small introduction, maybe a sentence to like 2 sentences that will give you a better idea of where the paper is going and hopefully make it flow a little better. But thank you so much, Ben. I appreciate it. Good luck with your paper too.